So I'm gonna take it back to late 2012, maybe early 2013, when my so-called friends were recommending me this show called Tiger and Bunny. Now, when you hear a TV show is called Tiger and Bunny, what do you think it would be about? Maybe a slice of life about a tiger and a bunny that become roommates? They have to learn to live with their differences while getting into hijinks and shenanigans, and just dealing with everyday problems. Especially problems that come with living with someone who's like the exact opposite of you. But by the end of it all, they come to appreciate and form a mutual respect for each other. I don't know, that's just what I had in my head, alright? So you can just imagine my disappointment when I found out it was a freaking superhero show. I swear I'm over it. So now fast forward to the crazy year that is 2020, and while that show still doesn't exist, I think I found the next best thing. We Bare Bears has to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I swear to goodness, I've lost count of how many times I've had to pause it just because of how hard I was laughing. Granted, I'm like mentally 12, so take that for what it is. But I have never watched something that's given me so many consistent ugly laughs before. So why not talk about what makes it so great? So there's Grizz, Pan and Ice Bear, all brothers, living together in their cave by the Bay Area. Of course with all their own distinct personalities. Grizz is the more extroverted out of the three. He's usually the one getting the gang into their antics and adventures and whatnot. He's always trying to go viral and make new friends and such. And you can tell that he wants to fit in with the rest of society the most, and that's like his main motivation throughout the show. He does this little ongoing series called Crowbar Jones. It's probably my favorite thing he does, to be honest, because I too make films, and they're both equally as bad. The best though is when he throws shade at Panda with his character Pando. It's so petty.
What? You're making another Crowbar Jones? Wait, Pando isn't in this one, right?
Who, Panda? No.
No, I love her, even though I know absolutely nothing about her.
And speaking of Panda, Pan's like the soft one of the group. He's allergic to everything, he's sensitive, he's desperate to fall in love, kinda awkward, sometimes really awkward, and he's a big weeb. But I'd probably call him the most level-headed one of the group. Like with Grizz always going on with his antics, he's usually the one to be like, this might not be a good idea. His quest in finding a girlfriend is probably my favorite aspect of his character. After a while, you just know it's not gonna end well, and you're just kinda waiting to see how it fails. Ice Bear steals the show a lot of the time. He's one of those men of few words, kind of the strong silent type, but whenever he does talk, it's hilarious. He's so dry and monotone, so it's kinda weird, but nevertheless, his comedic timing is impeccable.
My brother Panda? He likes you. He's like super nice.
Ice Bear thinks he's a solid 6.
He's really mysterious, like really mysterious. Sometimes there'll be episodes that go into his past a little bit, but even still, they don't reveal everything. In fact, it kinda just leads to more questions a lot of the time. Something that the show does really well is give all these characters certain quirks and whatnot. And sometimes we get episodes when we see them as baby bears. And some of these episodes explain some of these said quirks. Like Grizz is a big fan of action movies, so there's an episode when he's on a plane as a cub, watching an action movie, and he's completely enamored by it. And Ice Bear likes to cook, he wields an axe, and he talks in third person. So they show him as a cub where he meets someone who takes him in, and he does the same shit. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but I just appreciate the fact that they took time to think about stuff like that when a lot of shows like this don't. I think the show works so well because we get to see them make it through everyday life, tackling all the obstacles that come with that. And since they're bears trying to fit in with regular society, there's definitely some allegories to be made with trying to fit in when you're a different race or just different in general. Not to mention having to deal with the hate that minorities are inherently faced with. It also does a good job at portraying life in late 2010s, trying to constantly adapt to what's cool and trending when nowadays that stuff changes in an instant. But it just does it in such a relatable and humorous way that it's hard to dislike. A lot of the time I'll be watching it and I'm able to put myself into their shoes. Whether it's something small like people being too loud in the movie theater to having to let go of your ego. I've seen a lot of people describe it as wholesome, which might be why I like it so much because I'm low-key depressed, so it's kind of just nice to see something that's so consistently positive. But there's definitely more to the show than that. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I cannot stand any of these motherfuckers. But I guess that's kind of the point. First off, there's Charlie. This guy is just the freaking worst. It's not a wonder why this guy didn't have any friends before he met the bears. First of all, he's just obnoxious. He lacks any kind of self-awareness. And yeah, I know he's literally Bigfoot, but I just don't understand why the bears put up with him. Then there's the child prodigy Chloe. Oh, look at me, I'm Chloe, I'm so smart, I'm in college and I'm like 10. Yeah, that's why your friends are 3 freaking bears. Then there's wannabe Captain Planet freaking Ranger Taves. She's just so damn extra. And don't even get me started on Nom Nom. But as much as I dislike these fools, they still add a lot to the show. They end up having their own character arcs throughout the show, and in some situations they're kind of the reason the bears learn a valuable lesson or end up discovering something new about people.
Well, does she seem happy with him?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, then you should be happy for her. The only person's feelings you can control are your own. Know what I'm saying?
What are you so happy about?
Oh, nothing. Just the fact that we have all this time to hang out and be best friends in the woods all alone forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Wait up! wait for me!
Like I said in the beginning, I think the show is just a freaking riot. There's a ton of references to pop culture, like this reference to Ferris Bueller's Day Off just had me rolling. This Drive parody had me freaking cackling. And I think my favorite running gag is that the bears always take stuff to the extreme, and it usually just ruins everything. Like there's this episode when they're basically peer pressured into getting a tote bag to be cool, and when they see that the tote life has a lot of benefits, they get way too many. And then it turns into a whole horror movie.
Whoa! Wow! You scared me. Hi, I'm from the EPA.
Elephant pie? Activity?
Environmental Protection Agency. Sir, can you please tell me what all these bags are for?
Oh, you came here to learn about tote life.
Tote life?
Why didn't you say so earlier? Come.
There's a lot of these moments, and in my opinion, these horror-esque moments lead to the funniest parts. Everything's just so exaggerated, so they just do the most outlandish shit, and it kills me every time. I also feel like there's definitely a lot of SpongeBob influence. Like the Slumber Party episode is very similar to the Hash Slinging Slasher. The episode where Ice Bear becomes normal reminds me of when Patrick becomes smart. And there's similar jokes like these.
Hey, kid, hush your face or it'll be, curtains for your brothers.
No, not curtains! We'll probably get 40 lashes.
Oh
And I could keep going, but I think you guys get it. I know comedy is one of those things that is very subjective. And like I said, I'm like mentally 12, so all this stuff just had me dying.
Got it!
But even still, I think there's enough here for most people's sense of humor. And I think a lot of that credit goes to the voice acting, especially for the bears. They're absolutely hilarious. I mean, 2 of the 3 are literally comedians, so I guess it kind of just makes sense. But they just add so much to their respective roles that I don't think the show would work as well without them. If you're watching this and you haven't watched the show before, please watch it. I'm not great at making these videos, so I probably haven't even done the show enough justice to be honest, but it's 4 seasons, most of the episodes are 11 minutes, so it's an easy watch. It ends with a movie, and it's honestly the best thing to come out of the show. It ends on such a high note it's not even funny. The show as a whole, it's not necessarily groundbreaking, it's not gonna blow your mind or anything, but if you're looking for a funny show or cartoon that does a good job of conveying life nowadays, and trying to fit into this crazy world we live in, you should check it out. It's got a lot of laughs, it's got a lot of heart, and it's definitely worth your time.